My man, launching a winning Kickstarter campaign goes beyond just having a great idea or even thinking about a project that has demand for it in the marketplace. It really goes into two major components that can have a massive difference on whether or not you're successful with crowdfunding. And the first one is going to be the fact of how you actually structure that offer when it comes to the crowd. And the second is going to be how you effectively market that campaign. And those two minor components actually have a huge impact on whether or not people rally behind you when it comes to your campaign, and can really spell the difference between failure and being successful with that Kickstarter campaign and blowing past your goal and smashing through all of your expectations. Now, maybe you've launched a Kickstarter campaign before and it failed and didn't go the way that you wanted, or this could be your first launch ever with a new product. But what I want to share with you in today's YouTube video is that there are 10 actual proven tips that I think that every beginner or every crowdfunder should know when it comes to going into that raise. And these tips not only can help you raise more funding, get more backers very quickly, but also build momentum going into your campaign. Start to get attention and turn those prospects, those people that are searching and kind of interested in something creative, and turn those into your backers. So my name is Salvador Briggman, and on this channel we talk a lot about crowdfunding. We also cover that in my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified, where I've interviewed over 500 successful creators and entrepreneurs, really in the trenches, sharing with you what works when it comes to raising funding and driving traffic to their campaigns. But specifically in today's video, I want you to walk away with some tangible tips that you can actually apply to your campaign so you can get your product out there, you can impact the world for the positive, you can do some good on this planet, and also bring those backers on that exciting journey as you turn your ideas into physical products and creations and creativity. So stick with me until the end if you want to discover some of these proven tips and tricks. I think you're really going to enjoy them. Again, my name is Sal, and let's get into today's YouTube video. And my first tip for you in today's list is that successful projects never rely on just one reward tier. Now you might be like, Sal, but this one podcast episode you did a couple of months ago had this one person who had one reward and they raised 6 figures. There are always counter examples, but as a basic tenet of crowdfunding, right, most successful campaigns rely on multiple reward tiers. And in addition, that's also collections of rewards. So for example, things like add-ons after someone has backed it, stretch goals, late pledges, secret perks, right? The list goes on, but you really want to think about how can you package this offer in an exciting way that's going to create urgency for those initial backers, that's going to help you maintain momentum, plus kind of almost have a little bit of a value ladder so that people that come to the page are more likely to back the higher end rewards, which increases the overall checkout value or order value when they actually back your campaign. Now, number two can be a little bit of a headache, I think, for a lot of people out there, especially if you've been like following the industry for a long time the way that I have. I've been in the industry since 2012, and we've seen the evolution of many different types of campaigns over the years. But one of the things in the early days was having very like text heavy campaigns, telling about the description and the story behind the scenes, and really kind of presenting this project to the crowd as though it was something that they could, back and bring to life, which is very true. But there's been an evolution, and what I want to say for number two is that successful campaigns are built on visuals and not just built on words. So let that sink in for a second. But the difference between a campaign that does maybe low 5 figures and 6 figures plus is really going to come down to the visual components. So I'm talking about GIFs, high-end graphics, icons, feature callouts, having some great video footage as well when it comes to the campaign page, reward tier thumbnails. All of that has to be on point if you really want to smash through your goal and you want to make sure you raise more than your neighbor. Your visuals have to be on point when it comes to your crowdfunding campaign. It can feel a little bit weird if it's like your first time doing something online where you don't want to like sing your own praises or toot your own horn, but man, you gotta make sure you're showing that product in action and really showing off those features, functions, and materials when it comes to whatever it is you're doing, whether that's a book or something more like a gadget or a gizmo.
Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillment is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillment today. Link in the description.
Now, numero tres in the list, and I say numero tres because I was adopted from El Salvador and I've been learning more Spanish since I moved here from New York down to Miami, Florida. So my Spanish has been getting a little bit better, but number three is that oftentimes success is won in preparation before the launch day. So what do I mean by that? I mean that a lot of the times when you see these mega campaigns, they've really spent months perfecting their launch, doing things like building up an email list ahead of time, building out social media profiles, getting people to actually opt in and to test out different marketing angles before they go live, building out a coming soon page, right? They've done a lot of preparation in order to engineer success so that when they do go live, they have a lot of momentum going out of the gate. And we do talk a lot about that in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, which is available on Audible and is a paperback version on Amazon as well. I kind of go through that paint by numbers formula in order to achieve that. If you want to learn more about that book and my work, you can go and check it out in the link in the description. But really, success is a lot of the times engineered, and it's not as organic always as you might think. Now, number four, in terms of proven tips that really work to bring funding, is a little bit counterintuitive. So stay with me here. And that's because if you're coming from like an e-commerce background or like a direct-to-consumer background, you can be a little bit skeptical that the crowd actually cares about the person who's making the product. But that is 100% true, because remember, this is not Amazon, this isn't Shopify, this isn't just selling products online. Those people that back your campaign, be it a film, be it a theater project, could be a physical product or a gadget or a gizmo or even a book or a comic book or a graphic novel or a tabletop game, right? It doesn't matter. They don't know you. So they're getting to know you through your campaign story, and that's why the person is just as important as the product, because the person is the person behind the brand, and they're going to be fulfilling those perks and rewards, and they're really going to be fulfilling all of their promises. So make sure you tell your story, make sure you talk about your values, why it is that you're doing this, and give people a bite-sized idea of who is behind this project. Because again, just because they like the idea, they like the product, and they might want to buy it, doesn't mean they're going to trust you enough to make that backing decision unless they know a little bit about you. Number five in the list is probably the one that separates crowdfunding from other ways of introducing a product to the market, in my opinion. And specifically when it comes to Kickstarter, you gotta be aware of what I'm about to mention, or it could really spell doom when it comes to your campaign. And that's the fact that momentum is a currency when it comes to crowdfunding. So by momentum, there are ways in which you can generate and build momentum. For example, doing things like stretch goals and updates and live streams and releasing new reward tiers, right? And being able to celebrate milestones and to get people to rally around your project when there's a media review or someone drops a tutorial on YouTube mentioning your product, right? Building momentum is almost like a fire. I think of it as kind of like that analogy, right? And the more you can pour a little bit of gasoline on that fire just builds into like a roaring bonfire, and people want to be around that. People feel when a project has momentum and they want to be a part of it. So you really have to think about, how can I not only start my project with momentum, build that in, but also continue that momentum afterwards, whether that's doing things like late pledges, moving over and porting over to Indiegogo in demand after the campaign is done, even setting up a Shopify store and gathering pre-orders. There are many ways in which you can build and maintain momentum, but that's certainly one of the proven tricks and tips when it comes to Kickstarter and crowdfunding. Now at this point in the video, you might be like, Sal, this sounds like a lot of work, right? Why the heck should I even do this? Well, I have seen that campaigns can literally, change the trajectory of your career. They can change your life forever if you have a campaign that connects with a crowd, and all of a sudden then you do have a crowd which you can launch more campaigns with as well. So it does take elbow grease, but it could be something that profoundly changes your life in so many ways. And if you want to have more of like a bite-sized approach beyond these YouTube videos and these longer podcasts, I do have a free course out there that walks you through the step-by-step of launching a successful Kickstarter campaign, as well as some of the tools, tricks, and tactics that I talk about behind the scenes in order to be more successful. And if you want to learn more about that free course, just go down below, enter your name and email at the link crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter, and I'll kind of walk you through this in more bite-sized fashion, but also very powerful lessons that are going to allow you to raise more funding from the crowd at crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. Just go down below, enter your name and email at that link, crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. Now, the next one I'm gonna get an avalanche of negative comments about, but I'm just trying to share with you as it is, and that's that no one wants to be first. Everyone always wants to join a crowd. If you ever thrown a party, man, you know that no one wants to show up first. If you ever gone to like even a public performance, like I love to, I lived in New York City for many years, and you go down to Central Park and you see that whatever their street performers, they're always trying to build a crowd because nothing sells a crowd like a crowd. So by that in marketing terms, I mean that you need to build social proof into your crowdfunding campaigns. So that could be stating things like media logos, that could be doing things like follower counts, it could be your backer count, it could be having testimonials. You want to show that other people have maybe tried out this product, this prototype, this game, whatever it is that you're making, and they've said great things about it. They've had a good experience. The more you can build in social proof, it's going to attract a crowd to your project, plus it's going to improve the conversion rates on your crowdfunding campaign page. Now I gotta admit, man, number 7 can be quite challenging, and some of y'all have had a very long road getting to this point, and doing even online work maybe isn't your first forte, right? And maybe you have a different type of job and sort of like your normal life, right? But this really spells the difference between success and failure, and I do think it's something that it's a hallmark of every campaign, every company that innovates, that moves forward in life, that's seizing territory, that's conquering, right? It's really one of the biggest points, and that's that winners are going to use tools in order to be successful. You gotta use the right tools, man, to stay ahead. And even if you think that you're doing a good job, you also be on the lookout for new tools that can help you improve your processes. So things like software tools. For example, I talk and I have a great tutorial on this channel about using lead pages and using website builders in order to build a landing page or a coming soon page leading up to the launch of your campaign. I also talk about other tools out there you can use for email marketing to do mass emails, right? And to be able to track things like open rates and click-through rates and all those kind of things. I talk as well about other tools on this channel about how to automate your social media. Tools are a little bit scary, but they are your friend when it comes to having a mega crowdfunding campaign launch and smashing through your goal. You gotta be leveraging technology and tools to your advantage in order to do better than your neighbor when it comes to your campaign. Now, the next one I'm about to mention, I actually hesitate a little bit about sharing because I don't want you to just focus on this because there are so many ways to be successful, right? But we're really talking about a proven, tried and true path here to be able to have a trailblazing, successful Kickstarter campaign. And that's the fact that one successful media hit can literally change everything. And I talk a lot about this in one of my paid programs, the crowdfunding PR system, because it is so gosh darn powerful, right? So whether that's more of like a tried and true traditional approach with like a journalist or a blogger or someone who's singing your praises in the media that way, or it can be like a new age approach, like for example, a micro creator on Instagram or on TikTok or even on YouTube. One successful media hit can change the entire trajectory of your campaign. Not only does it deliver a heck of a lot of credibility, but also a river of traffic to your campaign. All the readers of that publication can go and check out your product. So it's one of those proven tips. And it's also something where in my own life as well, I've gone on a lot of different media publications, whether that's the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, Hypebot, Indiegogo's blog itself. I've had so many different media publications and I've seen the personal effect of that. So it's one of those things that can make or break your campaign, but it's kind of like a silver bullet in your back pocket. Now, number 9, and I'll just be honest with you, is not my expertise, man. This is not my area of expertise. I'm much more into the marketing and sales. I love driving traffic. I love helping people when it comes to, guiding them through the launch process of how to have their product connect with the world and to find buyers and backers. And that's why I do also individual one-on-one coaching calls to help creators just like you through that process, whether in the early stages or in the more mature stages of launching very soon with their project. I help you with individual one-on-one coaching calls, really guiding you through that entire process, and you coming out the other side armed with a war chest of tools, strategies, and tactics that work, and also a tailored plan to your specific product and category. If you want to learn more about my individual one-on-one coaching, go down below or book a call with me at crowdcrux.com/coaching. That's crowdcrux.com/coaching, and you can book an individual one-on-one coaching call. But what I want to share with you next is that the logistics and the shipping that goes into a campaign can be one of the things that, even if you have a successful campaign, can mean that you're in the red, right, when it comes to the project. And that's why we also partner with Fulfill Right when it comes to my brand here. But the point that I want to make is that shipping mistakes can really ruin even the most successful campaigns. And it can be a challenging problem to really figure out shipping if it's your first time doing it, and also figuring out logistics as well and product pricing. And that's really why we partner with 3PLs, also known as Fulfill Right, when it comes to external fulfillment providers, so they can actually handle all of your fulfillment and shipping for you. And you can learn more about them as well down in the link down below. I have actually a very popular YouTube video out there talking about the ways in which you can charge for shipping, but you need to be aware of the method in which you're using, how to calculate those costs, the way that you're gathering those costs, whether you're collecting shipping after the campaign is done or on that product page itself. And there are also a couple of other ways to do it as well. Now, my final tip on the list is for those of us that like to go it alone. And I know because I love to, when I was growing up, I did fencing for 10 years, I played tennis, right? I did a lot of individual sports, but I also did team sports. And if I think about crowdfunding, it's really more of a team sport. Not only do you need to involve the crowd and ideally your own social media network a little bit in that launch, but also you need to work with vendors, you need to have partners, you need to have people that are helping you out with various elements of the campaign. So think about where you are really solid and really strong, and maybe where some of your weaknesses are, and strategically think about how you can fill in those gaps. And every single successful founder that I've had that has come on my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified, and has shared with you what's worked for them to drive funding, but also to be successful given their circumstances. And in some cases, we have guests that are 18 years old. We have other guests that are like 75 years old, right? And they want to do a new business or launch a new product. And they all come and they say, you gotta be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and you gotta fill in those roles or those team spots. So that could be helping you with your artwork. That could be helping you when it comes to the pitch video. It could be helping you drive traffic and do the marketing. You gotta be aware of the team members and where you're sort of lacking, and to really view crowdfunding as a team sport. I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video as much as I did when it comes to producing this for you. I love putting out high quality education just like this, because I think that everyone out there, whether you're doing something more creative or you're doing something kind of cool, techie or gadget-like, or even a new physical product that's gonna help people, I think that everyone out there has something that they can turn into reality, has an idea which they can turn into something physical. And it's so cool because the more inventions we have in the world, the more creativity and artwork we have, it just makes the world a much richer place. And it's something that regardless of cultures and regions, whether you're in the United States or not, whatever your political leanings are, whatever it is that you're interested in, we can all appreciate creativity, artwork, and the way that that kind of touches us. And I think that's such a cool thing when it comes to being a human. So if you do also enjoy that, give me a thumbs up. Come subscribe to this channel for more positive, uplifting content just like this, with also tactics, tools, and resources. More of those, like I mentioned in the description. My name is Salvador Briggman. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.